In fact, Shivangi, we also exclusively spoke to Senior Advocate Mahesh Jethmalani on what exactly is happening in West Bengal and what Abhishek Banerjee also said regarding challenging not just the BJP but the Union of India. Listen into that exclusive conversation.
On the eve of counting, the kind of language we are listening from the nephew of Mamata Banerjee, sir, this is something that we are reading as crossing the line. Does not attacking the union amount to lowering the authority of constitutional institutions, Mr. Jethmalani?
But I think we're sort of emphasizing what happened. This is a desperate politician, right, who probably senses defeat. And he's not that TMC language and Abhishek Banerjee's has ever been anything but immoderate in the past. So we shouldn't be particularly surprised. And I don't think a powerful government like the NDA at the center needs to fear anything about constitutional threats and breakdown and all that. If there's a constitutional threat implicit in what he said, and I don't agree with that, frankly, I think it's just the rantings of a desperate politician who sees the ground underneath him slipping away. So, this is to be expected from an enta sound of desperation saying, come to falta, and, I'll show you what my Diamond Harbour model is. And, we all know what his Diamond Harbour model is. It's zigging, it's voter intimidation, and that kind of thing. And post-poll violence. That's the Diamond Harbour model. So, all right, so he's actually laying out his cards, and he's laying down a challenge to the centre. And the centre is up to it. No question of a constitutional threat, etc. Our constitution and our government is much more powerful than that.
Mr. Jethmalani, there is a tweet that has been put out, a post by not just Abhishek Banerjee. Abhishek Banerjee's post, I'm going to put that on air. Mr. Jethmalani, I want you to read that post. He dares the Union of India. He speaks against the Union of India. He's not talking about a party or a body like the Election Commission or the CRPF or the CAPF forces, but he's speaking against the Union of India, saying, Union of India, please get whoever you want. Now, this is very dangerous language, sir, and it's the same language is being replicated by the Trinamool Congress and top leaders of the Trinamool Congress this afternoon.
Yeah, all right, okay. So what you're saying is that instead of attacking a political party who's his real opponent at the polls, what he's doing is he's attacking the union government, the centre, etc. But the union government and the BJP is one of the, the union government, the centre consists of the NDA, of which the BJP is a major, factor or constituent. So I don't see this as being a throwdown to a constitutional challenge and undermining, the centre in any way. I think, this is a sign of desperation, and we should really ignore it. As I said earlier, it's a sign of a politician who sees the ground slipping beneath his feet. And, he's making very outrageous calls, right? And saying, bring whoever you want over here. I think he really means the party. But, the TMC is so used to party and state being synonymous, they apply that model to everybody else. Maybe that's what he means by the Diamond Harbour model, that the entire state is synonymous with the party, including the police and law enforcement agencies.
Mr. Jethmalani, now the falta has become a national case study, sir. This constituency called falta in Diamond Harbour, which happens to be Abhishek Banerjee's stronghold, has become a case study for all of India for several reasons, notorious reasons, sir. Let me tell you, and also our viewers, about what we have reported here, sir. EVMs where the BJP logo has been taped so that people can't press it. EVMs were on the BJP button, ittar or attar, whatever you call it, the perfume is put so that if somebody votes for the BJP and is trying to leave the booth, there are goons sitting there to smell the finger to see who you voted for, and if you voted for the BJP, they're going to beat you up black and blue. And then yesterday you had women, children come out, men, women come out and say that TMC goons blocked them from voting. They were asked not to vote. Hindus were asked not to vote. They were out on the streets all of yesterday. And I think everyone is watching this particular, seat and what happens here. Several questions have been raised about the rigging and the rampant rigging. There is an Excel sheet of how nearly 30 to 40 booths within Falta, there was rampant violation that took place, cheating that happened despite central forces being there. Now, from a judicial point of view, sir, what are the ramifications that you see here? And do you think, the courts must perhaps take a closer look at what is happening?
I really am against dragging the courts into every small political battle. It's not fair because then, people say that and if some order comes, it looks partisan. So I'm really against it. But why? I think we're getting unnecessarily sensitive about this. As I said, what you just described, using Attar on EVM locks and all that, it represents the Diamond Harbour model which he's talking about. So that's it. It's voter intimidation. It's rigging voting. So that's what he's really telling you. And it's now a confession. You use what he said as a confession, that your Diamond Harbour model, which you wax eloquent about, is no more than subverting the electoral process.
Do you think they're sounding nervous, Mr. Jethmalani? Do you think the Trinamool Congress is increasingly...
He's sounding desperate.
Yeah.
He's sounding desperate. I think, as I said earlier, this is the sign of a man who is about to lose power, which he can't believe, because they're so used to ruling in that fascist method, so used to voter intimidation, and nothing, and no check on that. No police check, because the police and the TMC are synonymous. So there's a complete breakdown of law and order. There is no law and order in West Bengal. At every previous election, we've seen that. 2021, I did so many cases for against the TMC, killing people in cold blood, raping women of the age of 60 years old. Those are all pending. There's a CBI inquiry and charge sheets have been filed. That's the Diamond Harbour model. And we must end it. Let's not get the courts. This is the way to defeat this fascist ideology of the TMC. They keep pretending that they're some very left liberal organization. They are not. They're goons. They're fascists. And the way to deal with them is politically.
So they've gone to the Supreme Court. You've seen how Mamata Banerjee, in the last few months, has mounted legal battles against the central agencies. Yesterday, they received another jolt in the Supreme Court. You have represented many cases for different people against the state government of Bengal. Now, they have lost each of these battles. But can I get your view on them questioning even central government employees and the setback that they received yesterday, Mr. Jethmalani?
See, that's their extreme victimhood card, right? The extreme victimhood card goes to denigrating any institution. They will denigrate the judiciary, they will denigrate the ED, they will arrest CBI officers. They did in the last election, they hammered. There were CRPF officers who were bleeding, who were protecting certain candidates who were standing for election there, and they tried to storm. They tried to storm the building in which he was staying, and he was given, CRPC protection by the Home Ministry. So they beat those people up as well. So what do you expect This is the lowest form of political culture being exhibited. This is the worst form. If there's anybody, they paint everybody with the fascist brush, but really it applies to them. This is a terrible, lumpen element which deals with fascist methods, with electoral processes and everything else.
Yeah. You look at the kind of language that is being used, sir. Sitting in the newsroom, we hear sound bites every single day where there is this, by the way, he happens to be the candidate in Falta called Jahangir Khan. Jahangir Khan says, I will slit the throats of my enemies after the elections. And then Abhishek Banerjee says, we will see who from Delhi will come and save you after the 4th of May. This time I won't spare any of you. That's a threat, direct threat. And then another leader, Kalyan Banerjee, who also I believe happens to be a lawyer, I don't know, you will know better. He says, he calls names to Amit Shah, the Union Home Minister. He says, we will hang you upside down. The kind of language that is being used here, right? Now, can I get your views on that? And it's only getting worse as we get closer to tomorrow.
But it's as defeat looms nearer and nearer, the tenor and pitch of the language, it's never been decent in any case. Their language has been foul at the best of times. So it's just getting worse and worse and worse. And of course, what you pointed out about threats of the candidate from there and, Abhishek Banerjee, the nature of the threats, it's a case for criminal intimidation. Whether something happens or not subsequently post-poll, and this time I don't think it'll happen because they're going to lose. But, these are all, and it's too late to now intimidate voters. But this is now some kind of bravado in the face of inevitable defeat.
So my final question to you, Mr. Jethmalani. See, there is something happening in Bengal, sir, and you know Bengal well. You practice in the courts in Bengal. A lot of Hindus are coming out and speaking. Yesterday, we found it very, 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 very unusual for so many Hindus to come out and say that they have been persecuted, they were not allowed to vote. There seems to be a Hindu uprising in Bengal, and many analysts are also predicting a Hindu consolidation happening in Bengal. And you've also seen some comments coming in from Bangladeshi parliamentarians saying that if the BJP wins, they have a lot to worry in Bangladesh. Now, what happens in Bengal is going to have a lot of ramifications for India, we as a country. How do you read, the developments, both in Bengal and the comments that you're seeing coming from Bangladesh? Why are these results important?
Well, these results are important because we've had huge atrocities being heaped prior to the present, present government, Ziaur Rahman's son. Prior to that, there has been atrocious acts of lynching, burning homes, looting of homes by the incumbent government under Mohammed Yunus. So, of course, there was a huge, and we were helpless. We couldn't do anything except go to war and stop something like this. We kept protesting. We at the diplomatic level, we took all the steps that were possible, but this went on unabated. You had regular incidents and reports of Hindus being torched alive, essentially, right? So this is extremely important because we'll have a firmer government. The West Bengal government under TMC did nothing to assuage or try and help at all, right? They were probably even complicit in this kind of violence because the echo is in West Bengal, where Hindus are being constantly intimidated and beaten up, especially after elections, just because they voted for the BJP. So, also the other aspect is that we are in a very precarious situation, right? Because the border between India and Bangladesh is really dependent on a very narrow corridor, the Siliguri corridor. So, for that reason too, it's very important to have a nationalist government there, because can you trust the TMC, right? The way it's talking right now, the language it's used, right? It's subversive. It's subversive of the nation. So, for more reasons than one, some of which I tried to enumerate, right? It is absolutely imperative that in West Bengal, the BJP comes to power this time.
Mr. Mahesh Jethmalani, thank you for speaking to Republic TV. The comment from Abhishek Banerjee we felt was extremely dangerous. Repeatedly, the Trinamool Congress and Mamata Banerjee's nephew using the term and threatening the Union of India, daring the Union of India, we felt is a very dangerous precedent, like we have seen in the case of Trinamool Congress. Thank you for speaking to us, Mr. Mahesh Jethmalani. Look forward to speaking to you once again with our this evening.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.